Thanks, everybody, for sticking it out. But we aren't the last of the Mohicans. Maria has something after for an award, so please stay. That's probably the most exciting thing of the day, actually. No offense to you fine folks.
None taken.
Appreciate it.
By the way, I think two of you just got challenged here a minute ago about RX. Maybe you're not into the drug space enough. I don't know. BNL and Alcon may have something to say about
That's a
that.
little too risky for me.
Drug development, too risky.
All the way to the
Stay
back.
surgical, man. All right. I like it. So we have Céline Olmiere from Théa, Paul Hallen, who you just met, from Alcon, and Anthony Wallace from BNL. I'm not going to take up their time just to introduce them, say hi, and tell you what the strategy is. They're going to speak, each of them, individually about whatever they like, but mostly about what their companies are looking for, interested in, and whatever else they think is relevant to a product development meeting like this. And these are the people that know where we should be going and what directions we should be heading. So, Anthony, you want to start?
Sure.
Thank you. And afterwards, we'll have some questions and answers with them to fine-tune some of their messaging if they are willing to let me.
Terrific. Well, thank you, Firas. And congratulations to you and Maureen and Craig. Another outstanding OIS meeting.
Thank you.
Well attended and highly engaged, as you can see. Everyone's still in the room, so excellent job. And Paul, it's great to be back on stage with you again. And Céline, it's very nice to meet you and honored to be up here with you. So I'll give a quick setup, and Maureen gave us very specific instructions on our reverse pitch, so I want to make sure I cover the areas of our vision strategy, what we're seeing in the next 3 to 5 years, learn a little bit about how we learn a little bit about companies and technologies, areas in our portfolio that we don't have that we're excited about, and then when to engage with companies, co-founders, and CEOs. So at any rate, I'll give a quick overview of Bausch & Lomb. And one of the things we're extremely proud of is our 170-year legacy as an organization. We have the highest brand awareness of any eye care company in the world. We're dedicated. We have a dedicated team of 13,000 employees that show up to work every day with the mission of helping patients see better to live better. And we reach more than 80% of the world's population with our Bausch & Lomb products. So we have a really wide reach and footprint with a dedicated team. We're also a fully integrated eye care company. We have 4 businesses. We have 4 key areas. We have pharmaceuticals, we have surgical, we have consumer, and we have vision care. And we target areas of unmet need in those areas that we believe are going to provide long-term growth and help patients and help surgeons. So I lead the North American surgical business, but I'm just a small piece of the puzzle here. We also have at this meeting here, and I'm not sure where he is, but we have Andrew Stewart here, who is our global president of pharmaceuticals and consumer. And then we have Sandeep Lalit, who also leads our business development and licensing strategy for the whole organization. So I encourage you to reach out to them as well. We get products to market by 3 ways. One of them is we develop and commercialize our own products. And that's the majority of our portfolio. So we research them, we develop them, we bring them to market, we manufacture them. We also do some partnerships. So we work with third-party companies to help bring products to market. In some cases, they do part of it or they do the majority of it. And then we acquire companies and assets. And we've been on a streak this year. We have a new CEO, Brent Saunders, who is old CEO, but new CEO, has an incredible passion for this business and an incredible passion for Bausch & Lomb. And just this year alone, we've made nearly $2.5 billion of acquisitions already, and we just surpassed the halfway point of the year. So we definitely are on a roll. You know, over the next 3 to 5 years, we see things, a couple things. One is we believe that we need to continue to expand innovation that we currently do today. So these are incremental steps forward, but they're steps that are needed. So we'll be bringing better vit cutters to market, advanced intraocular lenses, ways to do things more efficiently and more differently. But overall, we believe that healthcare is at an inflection point. And we believe the next frontier is really all going to be about impact and efficiency. Efficiencies in making surgeons more productive, and impact on bringing things to market that actually have significantly more positive outcomes. We can't ignore some of the macro trends. So some of the things that we're seeing in healthcare and policy. We're right now at the very end, but it still will impact us, of the Affordable Care Act, and many good things that came out of that, but there's also some unintended consequences. So the AMP rule will expire at the end of the year, so that's something we have to keep in mind. And then we're about to embark on the Inflation Reduction Act, which will continue to provide areas that we'll need to rethink and refocus on. So at any rate, impact and efficiency will definitely play into those changes, and we think that that's really going to be a focus in the future. The third question was really, how do we learn about companies and technologies? And I want to put a little plug in for OIS, because this meeting is extremely impactful. We learn so much at these meetings. We get to meet partners, future partners. I'll be honest, in December at OIS, I met two partners that we still talk to today, and we're still progressing the discussion. So these meetings are really impactful for us, and we look forward to these meetings to interact and engage, and it's great that we have breaks built in so we can do that. And we also go through the more traditional route. I mentioned Sandeep Lalita's here, and Sandeep is he's highly engaged with investment bankers. He's highly engaged with third parties that bring companies to us. But we're really focused in those areas, those core areas of business. Areas that are not in our portfolio that we're very excited about. Personally, for me, it's disruptive technologies that really change the dynamic for patients. We talk about efficiencies. We really need to rethink the patient experience and how we can bring medicine to them. Our healthcare system in the U.S. is extremely inefficient, and I don't think there's anybody in this room that would disagree with that. We spend more in healthcare dollars as a percent of GDP than any established nation in the world. But one thing that's really interesting about this is that out of the $4 trillion that we spend a year in healthcare, less than half of that is actually government funded, right? Less than half. And the half that's not is inclusive of both insurance as well as cash pay. So patients are paying. They're paying for premium lenses. They're paying for procedures that are not covered. And I'm not saying that we build a model on that, but we can't miss the fact that efficiency and convenience for the patient is definitely still a business. And the other part of this is, as we make the patient more, a better experience and more efficient, that takes money out of the healthcare system. That takes both direct cost and indirect cost out of the healthcare system. I can personally tell you, I'm still trying to find a time to make my dentist cleaning appointment that I pushed off now 6 times already this year. So it's really important that we think through that. But areas specifically that excite us are things like home diagnostics, things that are integrated for the surgeon or the physician with their patient, ways to be able to deliver medicine, ways to be able to conduct surgery and follow up with patients in different routes. And then I've always been really excited in the drug / device combo, where we can really be very specific on how we integrate our drugs through patients, whether it's an implant and medicine that goes with that, or whether it's AI and learning from algorithms of when patients need to come back for dosing. And then the last thing is, when's the optimal time to meet with companies or CEOs? And for me, the answer is early. It can't be too early where I can't conceptualize it, but we love to be able to be part of helping to develop clinical trials, helping to select the criteria, and sometimes helping to develop the manufacturing. So if we do go all in and buy the company, then we have our footprint in it already. So early is always better. So I hope that gives a quick summary. Hopefully I made Maureen proud, and happy to take any questions.
Well, you made me proud. That was awesome. That was really good. You're always so straight, and I wish we had time to go into the federal policy stuff. You're an expert, and we don't, but that I enjoyed learning from you when we talked about that, the new federal policies and their impact. Céline, you want to go ahead?
Yeah.
Thank you.
So I will try to cover the subject, but not on the order, probably. So yeah, thank you to you and Maureen for giving me the opportunity to present Théa Group to the audience. So as you may perhaps hear, Théa is a French company. So we are focused in ophthalmology, and we do ophthalmology only. Our owners is the Shibari family, so we are privately owned since the beginning, so almost 30 years. But the family is involved in ophthalmology for more than 1 century. So the philosophy of the company is to fulfill the daily needs of eye care practitioners. So we also have service products. Because we are French, we began by the European market, so we are number 1 in Europe. Of course, you have to exclude a retina market because anti-VEGF, by themselves are a huge market. So we are quite proud of that, and we launched our commercial operation in US last year. So we have both RX and OTC products. And the way we develop the company is to have new territories to become a global company, but also we need new product to do that, and innovative product. So we have development capacity in Théa. We can do international study, but we don't have any biological labs or any discovery research. So we rely on other people, third parties to do that. So that's where therapy innovation jumps in. So in therapy innovation, basically we do all the business development activities from scouting to deal making, but also alliance management with the partners. Why we need alliance management? Because we really want a partnership with the company we work with. So it means we could let the development to the company until phase 3 and when we could take over the development. What I forgot. So the way we work is is mainly to sign some licensing deal. Why? Because we are a pharma company. So at the end, we want a product we could commercialize. But if it makes sense, we could add some equity on top of it. So the sweet spot for us is around IND, but we are looking to asset from non-clinical proof of concept to phase 3. It depends on the territories and also the indication. More and more we want both Europe and US because we want to develop North America also. And yes, the way we hear about innovative product is as you mentioned, is to go to ophthalmic congress, to B2B conferences, as this kind of meetings, but also bio conferences, because sometimes in this, even if it's not specific to ophthalmology, you could meet some new companies because it's new spin-out, or companies from Asia, because they are not always present in this type of congresses. So it's very interesting for us. And of course, people could contact us directly. And also we speak a lot with key opinion leaders in Europe and in US, and they know a lot of people. So it helps a lot. So the first mission of therapy and innovation was to build the Retina business of Théa, because of course we don't have any portfolio in Retina on the market at the moment. And we are really excited at the moment because we are several development in clinic in different area, subspecialty of retina, I should say. So in DME, in AMD, in IRDs also. So we are very proud because we have a quite broad portfolio now, and we try to extend this portfolio in the retina, but also in other fields, because we do ophthalmology and not only ophthalmology. And again, we want to be the partner of all eye care practitioners of patients in this field. So we are looking also for dry eye, glaucoma, infection, whatever. In fact, as soon as it makes sense from a patient point of view, an ophthalmologist point of view, and of course a little bit from a market point of view. Yes, in a nutshell is what we do. So we can take we can take partnership quite early, unlike to what was said before. And we can go to quite small markets, so we can do what that other company couldn't. So yes, if you have innovative products, feel free to contact me. I'm here, and there's Théa people in all congresses, and we also have a website. So.
Thank you, Céline. Usually most of you who've come to this meeting know that Paul and I do a lot of these together, and I'm usually asking him very pointed, difficult questions and putting him on the spot, and he blows me off. and makes fun. And this time I'm just turning it over to you to say whatever you want, which hurts me. So, I'm going to give you the podium now, Paul.
Let's see what happens.
But I have questions if he leaves me any time.
Well, you're part of the program here. You'll see in a few seconds.
Okay.
So first of all, thank you for allowing me to share my thoughts on innovation. As you know, I'm incredibly passionate about it, and it's my full-time job. I'm upstream marketing, so we don't have anything to do with sales. We're just innovating 100% of the time, right? I love it. So in this room, surgeons like yourself who get to experience directly improving someone's vision is awesome, so I'm jealous. I'll start with that.
Thank you.
But I would say that I may not have that opportunity. I firmly believe all of us have a role, and that role is vital. So I've got the fancy title of Vice President, Global Head of Alcon Retina. My actual job is to help patients see better, and that's by placing innovations from our excellent R&D team in the hand of surgeons like you and these ladies in the front row right here, my good friends. I consider retina specialists to be superhumans. I do.
Maria
Because-
is, for sure.
Well, yeah, she is. I meant, most, not
Yeah, I got it.
Layla as well. But they're certainly advanced aliens from another world. They're so smart, they know so much, and then they can also do surgery very well, so the dexterity and all that together. And including you, Firas, because I know you're from the planet of Beverly Hills.
Yeah, that's a foreign country.
There's some strange people in Los Angeles, I'm just saying, right?
There are.
So I'm going to make a point, and I don't, we know we're the leaders in the space, and it's not to be arrogant, but I just want to say, how we do things and where we're at and for how long. So for 27 consecutive years, Alcon's been the leader. We're the astronauts of innovation following that theme in the surgical retina galaxy, and we have the stratospheric numbers to prove that. So since we launched the Acurus, we've grown to 125x. And the business keeps growing with the population and the different things that we can do. But it's just unbelievable. And we have undisputed leadership in all the major product categories we participate. So kind of exploring that, I'll get to the why. But so if you think back to planet Earth 27 years ago, much has changed. So the iPhone in 2007, which I'm shamelessly using as my speaker notes, as you might know, and got to put it back. Great, there we go. So also, I got here in a Tesla, and I used ChatGPT to hyper-optimize this presentation, and it took just 10 seconds. So a lot has changed is the point. In 1997, we launched the Acurus. Google.com was registered as a domain name with 1.2 trillion searches in 2023 alone. Google it. Anyway, bottom line is it's been a long time, right? And how the hell can we have achieved market leadership for 27 consecutive years in a world that's changing that much? And I think it comes down to three things for us. One, the prime directives that we have that boldly propel our enterprise forward still today are, number one, prioritize patients, number one. So our decision framework, all the decisions we make, we've got to really push ourselves not to think about the money Alcon's going to make. It's first start with the patient because it's going to follow. And really put patients first above all else. Number two, be externally focused. So that involves participating in OIS events, number one, society meetings, global OR visits. I go all over the world and go to many ORs, and you can kind of look and see what someone's doing, problems they're having, and ask the same questions to surgeons in Europe, in Japan, and China, and you start to titrate down on what really matters and causes you to innovate, right? And that comes to a more detailed point, number three, of being a surgical anthropologist. I'll explain. So to truly understand the needs and challenges of retina specialists, we must observe them in their natural habitat. And that's the operating room. And that's where it all happens. So, those are the things for me. And when you do that, you'll find efficacy opportunities, safety opportunities, efficiency opportunities, and then we can just innovate relentlessly behind that. Now, to make sure I answer some of Maureen's questions, that was more the philosophical of how we approach things. When it comes to innovation strategy, we embrace incremental and, disruptive approaches in balance. Incremental innovation is a core strength for Alcon. We're hyper-optimizers. We're just crazy about it. But we rely on surgeon feedback, and I think most of you know what I'm talking about, in wet labs, in your ORs, to validate our designs. And then we launch the products with excellence. On the other hand, disruptive innovation, we're actively seeking startups that have de-risked their technologies, much like in the pharma space. We don't need that much, but we need to de-risk the most critical things, and then we're ready to acquire. And oftentimes, and I know Matt Snakenberg is in the room back here in our BD&L group, our standards are just different, and we actually have to alkanize things after we get them, and we're okay with that. But we can see, the core technologies that maybe are really going to serve our patients and our surgeons in that order. And really, I live by the natural law, disrupt or be disrupted. So one example for us, one of the significant successes we've had in disruptive innovation, which many of you use, is Ingenuity 3D. So we acquired that. I actually brought it to Praveen Duggal first. I don't know if he's off on the happy hour before. Praveen, you out there? So I actually brought the technology to Praveen first. Why? I considered him the best businessman, and I think I was pretty correct on that. But he's also a little crazy, and he would always tell me the truth. So we brought it in there, and the first case he peeled the ILM, we did 14 cases, and that was the beginning of 3D surgery in Scottsdale. So while no customer explicitly asked for 3D visualization, we recognize the potential to revolutionize the field with that technology. So again, by focusing on surgeons' needs, patients' needs, we delivered enhanced depth of field, high mag, greater axial resolution, HDR, superior surgeon ergonomics, and data fusion. So there's a lot there that you could do that you couldn't do on an analog platform. So Ingenuity is amazing. Analog microscopes will fade away over the next decade. I would say, as Steve Jobs famously said, don't be trapped by dogma, have the courage to follow your heart and your intuition. I'm not afraid to innovate. In fact, I'm afraid not to. And my overarching reason for innovating is to serve a higher purpose than chasing money. I think that's fool's gold. Riches will certainly follow the innovations, but serve an otherworldly power and inspire others within Alcon to innovate for patients. So it becomes kind of contagious, and it's fun. Steve Jobs also said, I want to put a ding in the universe. Me too, in fact, hell yeah. So I'm excited about what's next, and we got some really good things. So what's the next frontier? The great news is we're aiming to solve very large problems for patients. Too bold to go when no company has gone before. The bad news is I can't tell you much. We're a public company, and I would love to keep my job for a while. It's a really, really good job. But I promise we will take one small step for surgeons, one giant leap for patient kind. And in conclusion, I encourage you all to put patients first, surgeons second, sorry.
No problem. We get it.
Second place, pretty good.
Yeah, not bad.
And adopt an external focus. And I think you guys have already bought into it. You're here. But there's a lot of people that don't expose themselves to that. So that's really important. And lastly, for my colleagues, be a surgical anthropologist. Really, determine what is needed. Have that mindset. And again, I want to thank all the retina specialists for all the knowledge they have shared with me over the years, including yourself and Maria and Layla and anybody else I can't see out there. And I want to express my gratitude for your company keep pushing us to be better. So, I wish you weren't as nice a guy. I'd actually like to have somebody I could dislike, but we're friends already. It happened. But we'll see you down the road.
Anthony's impossible not to like.
And then to my fellow Alconians out there, I think they're in table 52 in the back. There's one. Thanks for your dedication. Lastly, I believe innovation lights the path to sight, so thank you.
Thanks, Paul. And I can attest to Paul's OR presence and curiosity, and he gets stuff done quickly. It's
Truth be told, we're on a patent together.
Yeah.
And you can tell a story if you want.
We were in a wet lab, and I casually mentioned where some of our fellows struggle with creating the separation of the vitreous with the very small gauge surgery, which I don't do a lot of 27 gauge surgery, but we use it intermittently. And Paul said, tell me about that. We were just casually talking over like a pig eye or something. I don't know. Sorry. Oops. That was inappropriate. Awkward.
This is live television.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah,
It's okay.
it's okay.
We can edit it out later.
Yeah.
So he's like, tell me about that. I explained it to him, and we drew a couple of things on either a cocktail napkin or something like that. And less than 2 weeks later, I had a patent in my email box drawn up by his legal team, stuff, I don't understand. And I know him a long time, so I just signed it and I sent it back. But he really turned it over in under 10 or 11 days. It was
Yeah, I think
incredible
that-
after a very quick conversation.
I think that was actually the disclosure that we weren't going to pay you anything. So.
Well, I know. Oh, listen, I've worked with Alcon a long time.
Oh, yeah. Me too.
That's not news.
Me too. Right.
All right, so he got one on me anyway. But we have like a minute, so one quick question. You covered it a little bit. I'll give each of you a chance to answer this. So then, broadly speaking, what type of company or asset are you interested in? And more specifically speaking, are you interested more primarily in markets that are already highly active and busy, maybe something that complements something you already have? Or are you also interested in longer term, kind of higher risk projects that are more 5 or 10 years down the road? And an adjunct to that, what stage of development, whether it be drug or device, are you interested in? Anthony, you want to start?
Well, that's not a 10-second question.
Yeah, I
but,
know, man. I'm sorry.
but,
Look, you guys didn't leave me any time. I got to get one question.
I'll just
We'll go over.
say this.
We'll
There's
go
three
over.
things that we look for. It's and they all start with F. So it's fit, fit in the company, make sure it's a good fit, and what your core strategies are. It's financials, right? Obviously, it has to be a model that works for the organization, the stockholders, and then feasibility. Can you do it? So many times we get hung up on things that are so far out, and we don't know how to do it. So you have to be able to execute well to be successful, and that's sometimes hard to say no to. But they're the three areas we look for, and I mentioned earlier, we like to get in early so we can really help design some of the clinical.
So you're not afraid of being in early, not just as an advisory role, but willing to put money in early? I'm putting you on the spot.
It depends on the product and the area you're looking at, but it's always helpful to at least start the discussions early.
Beautiful. Céline?
Yeah, from our side, we are quite agnostic on the technology because we rely on the partner, as I told you. So we are looking for assets which could reach the market in 3 or 10 years because we want to jump early also because we try to advise the partner. We have joint steering committee and so on. So our sweet spot is around 90, but we can go earlier or after in case of medical device. It could be when you have a prototype and some human data. So yes, we are quite open.
So it's not something that you already have to be in or have a product similar to?
No, again, we want to be innovative. So if we want to be innovative, we couldn't have it already. So.
Good point. Paul, how about you? Stage of development, I know we've
Yeah.
had a lot of conversations about this, you and I. What are your thoughts?
So I think, first of all, in the operating room, I think, after the acquisition of Ingenuity and, our natural, style of hyper-optimizing, it's probably not in the operating room. Looking for large opportunities, 3 to 5 years. I'm just not that patient. That has nothing to do with business.
Yeah.
I just want to get something done, and if you really focus, I think that's it. But high unmet needs are still out there, and maybe things we can do in the office. And so I think that's an opportunity for us where maybe we're limited on the upside in the operating room and not really seeing any big technologies to add on. It's more hyper, improvement, which we've got some great things, but we've got to grow at a much larger rate on the base we have now. I think it's in the office with large unmet needs that are managed by devices or a combination device, proteins and things like that.
Thank you, Paul. And so we've run out of time, but for all of you entrepreneurs, these companies are the big dogs, and let them see your stuff, even if it's not necessarily the time they will put a check into it. Their advice as to where they could go with something like that helps formulate a development plan. That's just my opinion. Anthony, Céline, Paul, thank you very much for your insights and coming to the meeting. We're done now, and I'll step aside for Maria for the final session. Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank
Russ.
you.